5-footer copy. Oh! Bang! That one goes down. Champions. He takes that chance. Aguero.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Sports Fans Network. I am the CHALL reporting live here on SFM. We are here with a new series here on the channel, talking to rival fans and opposition supporters, as well as opposition fan channels, to speak about their football club situation. This is the second part of our Swindon Town content today, with the news that broke this morning that Mark Kennedy had reportedly, according to Peter Rupp, been sacked as head coach, but then the news came out from the club that that news was official. And not too long after that news, Ian Holloway was confirmed to be the replacement first-team manager, replacing the departing head coach, the ex-Lincoln City head coach. We're going to be delving into all of that, plus the long-term and short-term of Swindon Town for this season and beyond, with Ben from Falls Rush Inn. Ben, good evening to you. How are we doing? Thank you very much for coming on, making your debut here on SFN.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, Chow. Actually, looking forward to this and chatting to all things Swindon. It's been quite an event. What is it? It's like it's not even 5 o'clock yet, and it's been quite a day at Swindon. Quite a day. I wasn't really expecting this at 9 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, I went into town centre this morning and had to do a little thing for TikTok when the news broke that the reports were that he was set to be sacked, and then obviously the news was official. And even though Swindon didn't do it, I ended up posting the corner flag because it was tradition. So yeah, we'll delve straight into this. We'll start with Mark Kennedy and the departure of the head coach. People on the outside would look at your last few games and say, look, 2 losses, 2 wins and a draw. It's not the worst form in the world, but to many fans' perspective, from a Swindon perspective, the actual performances and some of the decisions in the games, whether that be substitutions, whether that be starting lineup, whether that be some of the rotations in the formation, came into question a lot more than the results itself. So it led up to today. The impression I got from Swindon fans in the majority is this news was going to happen at some point. The timing was a little bit of a surprise, but not completely unexpected. Would you agree with that? What's your perspective on the news?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's the most inevitable sacking that has been coming for quite a while. Obviously, a club like Swindon Town, 22nd in League Two, we're starting to get cut adrift from the lower half of League Two as well. I think even with a victory on Saturday, the highest we can go is 20th. 2 wins all season, only 1 win at home. It's been pretty dire as well. I think as well with the interviews that Kennedy's been done, I think it's been met with a lot of confusion, and wonder if he's actually been watching the same games, because he kept coming up the same sort of thing that, Swindon Town had just been unlucky, and, sooner or later we'll put up clear and get towards the top of the league. And there's one thing sort of keeping your spirits up and, downplaying, talking up players and keeping a morale high, and there's other thing just being real. And I think what would have done him a ton of good is actually just accepting that we're towards the bottom of the league and we actually need to roll our sleeves up and dig in and get results, or we're going to be in for a bit of a relegation fight. And there was none of that. I think post comments talking about daughters marrying off to players and snipers and all sort of weird directions towards the end, it was quite bizarre, and I think he talked himself out of a job. And the sacking itself was pretty predictable, quite timely. I think we've given him, it's only 13 games in, but I think we need to act sooner or later. So, sacking him at this time when there's still 3/4 of the season to go was possibly the right thing to do, because he wasn't the man to turn things around. It wasn't going to change under him.
Yeah, that seemed to be the indication that I got speaking to other Swindon Town supporters throughout the day, and it definitely felt like the sacking was coming. Obviously, like I said in the video in part 1 earlier today, it was obviously very, very sad to see any manager or any head coach lose their job.
Yeah,
Mark Kennedy's a good guy. He's, he has the ability to become a great coach. We've seen that in the past. But obviously it just wasn't the right job. But you look at the situation now, that's what 5-6 managers since 2021. What's going wrong at Swindon Town Football Club? Obviously, people will point towards the owners as the main fault. What's the direction? What's the plan? What's the long-term aspiration? What's the long-term stability? What's gone wrong at Swindon Town for it to be in the situation that we were in not too long ago when we were sacking manager after manager?
Well, yeah, exactly that. And like, it's a recipe for that. Like, Kennedy had to go. He had to go. It was the right decision to sack him. The bad decision was actually appointing him in the first place. I think we've gone through 6 managers now. Some have left at their own accord. Some have gone of the way of the boot. But it's still a criminally high number. You're not a well-run club if you have to go through this amount of managers in such a short period of time. Clem Morfuni has only been in charge of the club since, 2001? If we are on number 6, it's terrible. And they've all seemed to have like sort of 20 or 30 games between them. I think the only one to do a full season was Bengana, and that was the playoff season at the very beginning, and he kind of walked without really much of a fight to keep hold of. So there's been lots of talk about what's been going on above boardroom level, and obviously things probably might not appear as well as they should be, but obviously that's for another show. But it's too many managers in a short period of time. And Holloway's only signed up till the end of this season. And if it doesn't go well for him, if we are still struggling, no doubt he probably won't last that either. So he is, I think, a short-term contract, unless he does extraordinarily well and gets offered a long-term deal. Again, it's a sort of a short-term minded contract. But you've also got to bear in mind who wants to be in charge of Swindon right now. It's not really a job that sort of whets the appetite of a young, hungry manager. I can't see even like an Ainsworth coming down or a Pete Wild or anyone like that, the managers who are available. I don't see Swindon playing out the cash and getting someone in. The only other thing that we could possibly attract was a promising non-league manager. And again, you're tempting fate then, because you have a look at what some of the other managers that come in from non-league, that's always a bit hit and miss. So, they've gone for tried and tested and someone local, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and that kind of brings me on to the next point here, and that's the appointment of Ian Holloway on a short-term deal to the end of the season. Obviously local, he's got a bulldog spirit. Players that don't play for the badge and the shirt will not last long under him. We know he wants fight. He's a character on the touchline. His interviews have just been iconic over the years. Short term, it gives the club a bit more fight, and I think the expectation, I said this in the video earlier, I think the expectation, whether you agree or not, is this season just to stay in the Football League and keep that status and then just move on from there. But we don't even know what the expectation of the club is, because we've not had much clarity in terms of belief of expectation.
Well, he doesn't start the job till Monday. I love an interview with Clem just to see what the aspirations now. I think that obviously there will be a press conference and a press release releasing him, and these sort of questions can be put to Ian Holloway. I think he's going to be in the stands watching the game on Saturday, but he'll we'll find out a little bit more. What his intentions and what his remit is. As a Swindon fan, all I want is to have a club. This is how low my bar is, to still have a club that's in the Football League and solvent by the time Clem sells the club. That's all I want, so we can start again. Basically, that's the bottom line. But that's where I'm at the minute. If they can do anything better than that, then brilliant. Ian Holloway is a manager who knows the club. He'll know the club very well. He's a local man. He's from Bristol. He's a West Country boy. He's had loads of humdingers games against Swindon as a player, as a manager, for QPR and for Bristol Rovers themselves. He's seen the club in a lot better fit state than it is right now. He's seen the atmosphere it can bring. He knows what the fans are like there. He knows what, the old atmosphere at the County Ground, where it used to be quite intimidating to go to for away teams. He knows a lot about it, and he knows where we need to be, where some other managers probably would. I think one Kennedy's biggest problem is he called Salford a big club and all that sort of thing. And, it's just like Swindon, we shouldn't really be. So I think he needs to take that into mind and the expectations of the fan base. He'll know that. He is a motivational manager. He is someone to get them up and get them going. He is the type of manager who likes to play attacking football. He's also the manager who is quirky, and Swindon fans like that. They love a little bit of character in their teams because the fans love to get behind that sort of manager. So if it does come off and he does improve the team, because the players that we've got, if you look at players like you've got Cox, Kilkenny, Glatzel, lots of players who should actually be performing higher than this and doing a lot better at this level. And Swindon should be operating higher than 20. The squad they got, they've got good strength and depth, a lovely mixture of youth and of experience in there, and a lot of players who have played at higher level or have experience of promotion at this level.
Yeah,
it should be, Kennedy's remit was to be towards the top end of the league, and this team should be performing better. So if he can motivate them and he can get performances right and we do push up, then the fans will support him and love him, and we can maybe get some momentum and hopefully push towards a mid-table to top our finish. But it can also go the other way under him, as we've seen with Grimsby. And obviously, #SPFC has been a light with Grimsby fans, warning us of our pending doom and relegation, and sharing our deepest sympathies, because we're about to envisage one of the darkest periods of the club's history. Well, we're in a pretty dark one right now. So we'll see how it goes. But I will say as well, every manager, every single appointment and every signing is greeted with these sort of messages, because if you're a League Two manager, you've had bad stints at other clubs before. That's why you're in League Two. He's also had 3 promotions. So I'm hoping we get, a refreshed man who's been away out of the football for the last few years and full of fight. And we get Ian Holloway from 2012 rather than 2020 in Holloway, which didn't go down too well.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, finally, obviously, like I said, Swindon could be in for a struggle season. It's clear that Swindon Town could be in a relegation battle this year with the likes of Morecambe, surprisingly Carlisle United. Cheltenham Town could end up being in that mix if the results fail to improve. The relegation battle is still pretty open. But it's the bottom 4 or 5 that's probably going to be in that mix regardless. Whether you stay up or whether you go down, I mean, you look at the way that Swindon Town's run. Obviously, the head of football, Jamie Russell. You've got the recruitment team, and you've obviously got the owner, Clem Morfuni. A lot of Swindon fans put the blame on the owner. How much fault needs to be divided for where Swindon Town is and where it could end up going if you do end up being relegated out of the Football League?
Well, there's been a lot of question marks on Jamie Russell at the moment, purely fact because he's pretty much our director of football. He was the man in charge hiring all these managers. He's not been there from the start. Obviously, he took the job over from Sandra Di Michele, but the last 2 years it's been him. Well, the last year and a half it's been him. The squad itself this year, I actually think, is actually not too bad. I think we've got a better squad than last season. It's just not performing at the levels it should do.
Yeah.
So I think the jury's out on that itself. Obviously, Clem's been here long term, and each season has been considerably worse than the season before that under his tenure. We've gone, he first took over and we did unbelievably well, and everyone tagged us to sort of finish in the bottom 2, 3 or 4. We made the playoffs. We were 3 points off automatic promotion at the end. That was far beyond anyone's expectation. And then since then, we've bombed out. We've gone from like mid-table to bottom half mid-table. And now we're staring. Well, we're facing the abyss of non-league football, which scares the hell out of me. Because it's somewhere that we've never been before, and it's also a graveyard of league clubs, the National League as well. And if we go down, Oldham is stuck down there. There's so many big clubs that have been established at this level. You really, because there's only 2 spots going up, you really need a big slice of luck and a lot of money to get out of that level. Look at Wrexham, for example. It took them years under all the money that they had. Notts County, it took them years. I really, really don't want that. But we are where we are, and it's a fact of life, and we just got to deal with it. And let's hope that this is a signing that inspires us to at least mid-table.
Yeah, 100%. Ben, thank you very, very much for coming on to SFN this evening. Obviously, you're always welcome back, as is every other Swindon Town supporter. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be at the county ground towards the end of the season to see your either potential survival or potential relegation.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on, Carl. Ciao, it's been great. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. Make sure you do like, comment, subscribe. Swindon Town fans, comment down below your thoughts in the comment section below this video. And for now, I am the CHALL. Ta-ra for now, and that is full time here on SFN.
Right foot to copy. Bang! That one goes down. Champions. He takes that chance. Aguero.